Hello and welcome. My name is Paula Jane Newman, and I am the founder of Aware Meditation Inc. It is a 501c3 nonprofit, a nonprofit designed to bring stress reduction techniques for individuals, including meditation, yoga, wellness talks, and comedy. That's right, laughing is healing. Please feel free to subscribe to this channel. But today's talk is going to be about mental health awareness and meditation. This is being recorded on May the 4th. Those of you who are Star Wars geeks, you have a different idea of that, May the 4th. But the interesting part about that, May the 4th and May the Force, is the Force, which is often spoken from that character Yoda. Yoda was created by George Lucas, who was attending meditation sessions from a guru called Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. And his voice intonations and patterns are those that Yoda is modeled on. So we might not realize it, but May the 4th or May the 4th is actually a day where we get brought back to that particular guru of meditation. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was the student of Swami Brahmananda Saraswati. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi taught many people a practice called transcendental meditation, including one of my teachers, and I went and studied to be able to teach that practice, although it's not called that name. At Aware Meditation, we love that particular practice, which is always taught in person, but we also understand that it's not ideally for everyone. So there are other practices that we also help guide people to experts in those fields. But let's get to the topic of the day, mental health awareness. Why was this created? And it happens in May, and you see lots of social media and might want to know, why is this important with meditation? Well, there was for a long time, and there still is in many parts of the world, stigma associated with mental health. Mental health, unlike if someone had cancer, for example, was not considered something that someone was unable to overcome by themselves. If someone is diagnosed with cancer, automatically sympathy and empathy pours out. There's a solution, there are doctors, there are support groups. When it comes to mental health, a lot of stigma is attached to it, and often families wish to deny that someone is dealing with a mental health issue, mainly because we know a lot of this is genetic. And people don't want to address that. That's not really a mental health issue. They're just going through something, or they just need to get their act together, or maybe if they just, change a location. All of these aspects were not taken that seriously. And the medications that were often given for mental health were so intense and had such dramatic side effects. Individuals were often sent away, either to asylums or hospitalization. Many individuals who end up in rehabilitation for drug addiction, alcoholism, it is in an attempt to try to stabilize the brain. So many years, this is a stigma. People don't talk about it. Even if you watch The Crown, one of the episodes talks about their other two sisters who are just hushed and put away, and they are in a psychiatric facility, right? This is shame that goes on the family. As it's come about, there's more talking about mental health. There's more discussion about how intense these medications are. And we then had COVID. And in COVID, everybody was stuck inside, and we went more online, and people sought ways to deal with the loneliness, the disconnect, and the mental health issues came to the forefront. People started talking about the mental health issues of not interacting with people. They started talking about the effects of what this COVID is having, the inability to deal with this virus that the whole world is subject to. And it started to awaken more people to be interested in mental health, be interested in how to deal with stress, become interested in other aspects of their life than attempting to get a job, attempting to be a person that's going to achieve all of these accolades and then you'll be okay. Mental health has been in and out of insurance in the United States, which is another problem. Mental health was always approached by, let's find what the chemical imbalance is. And then what needs to be addressed on top of that is what actually perpetuates some of these incidences, the triggers. So we've had psychologists, psychiatrists, we have counselors in school, and we're much more aware of the anxiety that also happens on social media for teenagers, the pressure, but we're more aware now of the mental health issues that can come from those pressures. Teenage suicide is on the rise, and it can definitely be correlated with the amount of time people spend on social media, the self-deprecation that happens as a result. People are way more aware of mental health issues before COVID. And this is because people spent way more time online and there was a sense of connection or disconnection. So how does this really relate to meditation? So meditation, all forms of meditation are designed to calm the nervous system down. So our nervous system goes from two places, relaxation or fight or flight. And we are designed to have a fight or flight response, which is a panic when we can feel our adrenals going. The adrenals are, if you're taking a test, they start to go. If you have to make a presentation, they'll start to go up. If you are in a situation where you feel your life is being threatened, you're going to go into that fight or flight mode. But what's happened is over time, when we're overstimulated to this point, that we have to continue this overstimulation just to survive. And let's face it, most individuals now, it's hard to make ends meet. The cost of living is going up. The actual income is not going up, it's staying the same. And this is global. Buying a house, whether it's in Los Angeles, whether it's New York, whether it's in Sydney, Australia, whether it's in London, the ability to do what we were trained to do with our upbringing, which is get a job, find a partner, have a house, that will be stable, have some children, that will be stable. These norms are actually causing a lot of stress and anxiety because we were culturally conditioned to do this when there was a set of cultural support. You would have a job for the rest of your life. You stayed with that partner. You helped support the children. Everyone's stuck in what was called their lane. However, underneath the surface, there was a lot of abuse that was happening. People were not free. We don't have equal pay for women. There weren't necessarily equal jobs. Some people were then not considered normal if you don't do this. But there was a culture with an ideology to support that. When you then had jobs, people are just let go after a certain amount of years, and now they can't get another job at that same salary. They can't afford their house. If they were the male figure and they're supposed to provide for the whole house, and suddenly they can't do that, that's their worth. That's their value. The ability for people to move out of abusive relationships. Divorce in the meditation world is not considered a failure. It's maybe something was actually put into effect from cultural conditioning that perhaps wasn't right for both people, but that's what you do to be normal. Now we are having generations, and it goes down the DNA, told this is how you survive, this is what we do. And if we want to bring it back, then ideally, we were keeping the land and you needed lots of children to farm the land, and the women couldn't even vote, so they needed to be with someone who had money to survive. These were orchestrated for the procreation of the species, for the culture to continue. Now, very simplistically, but now we're in a society where we're beginning to get closer to people having equal rights. Maybe we're beginning to get to closer where individuals are not merely valued in a female body the way they look, that a male is not looked at as simply a paycheck, right? We are beginning to break those norms, but we're still conditioned into this ideology. When our ideology is in this place and we can't make it, we then have stress from outside forces. Right? We have stress from society, we have stress with our family, we have stress within us telling us we're supposed to be a certain way. Or if someone has a chemical imbalance, the trigger of that stress is going to cause the mental health issues to become even more intense. Right? So I have a physical injury, and when I get tired, it will flare up in that part of the body because there's more stress upon it. So when we come to issues of mental health, or we're having anxiety or depression, when we're under more stress, it's as if a spotlight is really focused upon that. And so how meditation can help with that is bringing the body back to a state of relaxation, a state where there's more calm. So we're less likely to have such an intense reaction to anxiety, to depression, or our mental health condition will be less acute, right? We're not saying this is the be all and end all cure to this. We're saying it is a tool to help manage the system from being completely intensified. And whenever there is a flare up or something that gets very intense, that's then remembered in the body. And what happens is now we've gone from this level to this level. So when the body calms down, it may not even calm down back to this level because it's been so used to being at this level, it'll calm down to this. So now this is normal rather than this, right? So then we get triggered again, we might go up to here. What happens is we just keep perpetuating and keep perpetuating the system to be on this mode, that heaven forbid there should be a moment where there's calm and quiet and peace. And guess what happens? All of these thoughts, all of these stressors then come up in the body trying to get released because we've been so busy. We've been a busybody. They're not just simply old ladies that will look through the window and criticize the young children and how they're misbehaving on the street. Well, that's how I was brought up with what a busybody is. No, it's a busybody. You're overdoing. And then when you get to be quiet, all of this stuff comes up. So often people have a block with meditation because they feel that when they actually stop, they're faced with all of these thoughts. They're faced with all the stuff that's going on, but it was always there underneath the surface. When we do meditate, we regulate the nervous system from that fight or flight to the relaxation state. And when we do it and the body starts to become more relaxed, it understands, oh, we can actually go back down to this. And over time, when we practice meditation, we reset this back to here. So we start to be able to regulate our nervous system to a place of rest that isn't still at a high level of anxiety and stress. Now, when we meditate regularly, and we do it over a period of time, meaning not just the length of the meditation, but we do it over several years, we continue the practice, what happens is the system doesn't freak out when you try to regulate it. Right? So if you have a system that's used to being very busy, right? Let's say it's up here, it's a busy body. When you regulate it the first time and it goes down to here, okay, we can do that for a period of time, but this doesn't feel normal. So when we regulate back up again, that might feel normal. When the cortisol levels are up due to a period of stress, and this is over at least 3 months, and I think what we live in right now is a very stressful period, it's going to continue to be stressed. So to be not stressed actually is now considered not normal. So if we ever try to go to a retreat, we ever try to do some meditation, maybe the first few breaths we feel good, or maybe if we have a person there to guide us in the meditation, it feels better. But our system wants to snap back to what's now considered normal, right? And this is why we really propagate or encourage people to do a regular practice of meditation in smaller doses and have it become part of your life and let go of the agenda. Let's say there's a favorite television show you like to watch, only 20 minutes, or an episode on YouTube. If you watch that for 20 minutes, you don't know if it's going to be a great episode or not. It may or may not be funny, that week's episode. So we sit in a place of neutrality to see what unfolds, see what happens in that 20 minutes of the show. But when we get to meditation, everybody decides, well, it's not working. I mean, I had an agenda for what this episode was supposed to be. And it is. Every time we meditate, it is as if we are watching an episode. We are in an episode of our body experiencing or attempting to experience some relaxation. But our mind starts saying, well, hang on, this is not what I signed up for. I signed up for super calm. I see all these pictures on the retreat of these people who are doing yoga. They look a certain way. I've been here 2 days and I'm a stress case. All I can think of are thoughts. What they've been doing is over time actions that cause their body to look like that cause them to feel a certain way. It's not an overnight matter. And what we're used to, the 15 seconds, the 30-second clips on Instagram, on TikTok, we can take a breath with these people for meditation. We can get a little reminded of what we want. But ultimately, the goal is, like a teacher from myself, is to help yourself to be self-sufficient in a practice that you can keep with for the rest of your life. Right? So at this moment, I would encourage, if you're on YouTube, so subscribe. On the other platforms, please subscribe and make comments about this might help you. But to know that wherever you go, we want you to find a practice that you can help yourself go to the next place. And I'm not talking about a practice that is an agenda. When it comes to mental health awareness and meditation, what we want is you to let go of that agenda, the cultural conditioning, the pressures you've put on yourself. I've seen people with remarkable amounts of debt somehow get through it. Some people who have been told they're going to die of cancer in 3 months live for years, right? This is mainly because the individual approaches it step by step and doesn't get in their head that this equates this situation with value about themselves, and the value meaning you're diminished, right? And that is when we get to be more in the present moment. If you've ever been to a children's ward when they're very sick, or the terminally sick children, why do they seem so wise? Because they've surrendered that they can't fight what these persons think. They're just doing it one moment at a time. And often we can get to a place of calm or zen when we are completely tapped out with all other modalities and all other ideas, because it's too much to take on. We simply can't take it on. That's it. We're done. But we can get that through meditation without having to take mind-altering drugs, because they're not sustainable. And when I say mind-altering drugs, I'm not talking about medication one needs for a medical condition. I'm talking about recreational drugs that are put in the place of helping deal with deeper-rooted issues, and they become this Band-Aid. What also happens is the body then adapts. So people start having to do harder drugs to try and get that same sense of zen while not dealing with what's causing this issue in the first place, right? So with that, we're going to go into what I call a relaxation meditation. And a relaxation meditation is one where we're not trying to manifest or make anything happen in our world. We are attempting to move from a human doing, a busybody, to a relaxed individual and a nervous system going back to neutral. Now, those of you who know me, who have taken our gold standard course, which is an in-person 4-day session to be self-sufficient, I'm going to ask you to do that practice. But those of you who are listening and watching to me right now, with me, not to me, that's a wrong preposition. I want you to take these following steps, and then we're going to go into a place of calm for our meditation. So if you can, and if you need to pause the video when we play this back, or you're with me right now and you need to get yourself settled, it's fine. We're going to sit in a comfortable position. And that means your feet are on the floor, or your feet are touching a sofa, or if you're on your bed, and your back is supported and your neck is free. Sometimes the neck can wander up and down. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into a period of silence. And during this silence, when we close our eyes, I want you to know that you're going to hear noises more acutely than before if you're not used to this practice. And I want you to know that's normal. And we're going to spend this time simply facing ourselves. And I think we're going to only do 15 minutes because we might have some beginners here. But I want you to, first of all, take a few deep breaths. Allow yourself to feel in your body and allow yourself to notice where your body touches furniture or the earth. And on the next inhalation, when you exhale it, allow yourself to sink in a little bit more into that surface which is supporting your body. Chair, floor. Ready? Now we're going to quietly go into a meditation period, and I'll be here on screen with you, and I will let you know when it's time to come out of the meditation. Now take a gentle inhalation through your nose. Exhale slowly out through your mouth. If you're doing the practice that I've taught you in person over those 4 days, now let go of your mantras and we will have a couple of minutes rest. If you're joining us and you haven't taken that course, no problem. Just allow the next couple of minutes for you to come back to the world. This can be done very simply by now deepening your breath, paying attention to your fingers and your toes. Where are they touching on a surface? And bring awareness back to your extremities. And if you notice a flood of thoughts coming in, maybe your body wants to roll the shoulders back, maybe do a few neck rolls. If that feels right for you, stretch, do so. But like I am, have your eyes closed. And I'll let you know when we're going to open our eyes slowly together. And whenever you are ready, begin to slowly open your eyes. There's a point right about here, those of you who can see me, that both of the eyes want to open up together. When we are in a meditation state and we open both eyes at the same time, it is a reminder for the body to come out. So if you experience any disturbances, neighbors, people in your household, animals, or even yourself, you disturb yourself, open with one eye. And I say that because haven't we all experienced where maybe we're in a sort of state of deep relaxation and our fingers touch our arm and we're, who's that? Is it a spider? And then we realize it's our own body part. Now, in this next few moments, as we're coming out, please prepare your questions and your thoughts. And those of you who are joining us, you can pop it in the chat, your questions to me privately. But I'm just going to give a few more tips. The point of meditation, all meditation states, is to get back to a human being than a human doing. It is the doing I call as the great distraction. And I fundamentally feel that the great distraction to be normal in life, to follow, not share our truth, don't speak what we feel, is what causes a lot of triggers of stress, which can then perpetuate mental health issues to get worse. The obsession of trying to put that round peg into a square hole over and over again, rather than having the training since birth that we have unique aspects of ourselves to be brought out into the world to make it a better place. You just see someone wrote a little question here. So someone has asked this question, and if you're here on YouTube, you will know what it is. Aware Meditation Inc. is the YouTube channel where you can watch this and more videos. If you're watching on YouTube, you probably think that's a bit silly, but someone wanted to check that. We're also available on Instagram at Aware Meditation. You can find us there. We have our Facebook page, Aware Meditation. Please like, follow, subscribe. It costs us nothing. And you can always check out our website, awaremeditation.com, soon to be turned into awaremeditation.org. We are a nonprofit, but someone else had the domain name for a while, and they were going to price gouge us. And so we said no to that. And then they let it go. So we are in the process of rebuilding that. Over the 4 years, we have reached 90,000 people. That's right. We have an impact of 90,000. That's combining the in-person and the YouTube and the online programs we offer. Why do we do programs online? Because there are individuals who cannot get out of the house. So why would we not let those people have access to capacities to help them have a nervous system, regulate more? And most of those people have either got some mental health challenges, physical challenges, or they're rural, far away. And we want to be able to help everyone have access to these programs. Now, if you happen to be in the Los Angeles area and you're watching this video in this time, May 31st, we have our fundraiser Comedy Wellness for Mental Health Awareness Month event. This means we're going to be talking about some wellness programs, a few techniques, and bringing laughter as a form of healing. We've had some fabulous donations from wellness people from around the world, so you'll be able to participate in helping donate to the cause and maybe gaining some of those services at a cheaper rate. And some of the local community businesses have given free tickets to concerts, to events, to museums to help support this. If you want to find out about that, you can go to the website. We have it linked there. So my advice is, please check in. And if you want to know more about our meditation practices that we offer, reach out to us directly. There's info@awaremeditation.com. All of that will be put down further if you're watching YouTube, or if you come in through another way and you're live with us, we will send a follow-up email for you. If there are any pressing questions, please pop them in the chat now. But I want you to know this is a process. And so when we meditate, when I first learned to meditate, I thought it was horrible because I had all these thoughts in my head. And now I just spent 20 minutes just thinking about it. But then I lay down for my nap. And at the time I was very, very poorly. I had chronic pain from a muscular repetitive stress injury that my body was not recovering from. So I couldn't sleep at night. And every day I would sleep for 3 hours because I wasn't sleeping at night. And I lay down for my 3-hour nap. And it was so clear within 5 minutes. This body did not need to go to sleep. And so I sat up. Was I walking on water? No. Was I physically cured from any pain? No. But this was doing something that my mind said, oh, meditation's not working. But my body was having a response that could not be denied. So take a moment, observe how you are for the rest of the day. If you're new to us, welcome. Please join us. We'd love you to be part of our community in whatever capacity you can. And observe from where you were before you meditated to where you feel right now. Is there some calm? Is there a place of a little bit more deep relaxation than there was when you first started? And if so, wonderful. Please come back. So thank you so much. If there are no more questions, we will sign off for today. I greatly appreciate it. And please don't be a stranger. Please continue to be part of our community in whatever capacity that is, whether it's just watching a video occasionally, playing a few, reaching out, or whether you want to take a whole course or volunteer at any of our events. We would love you to help us, to help people help themselves.